In this podcast show, we're going to look at stress. I've had quite a few messages about stress. So we're going to talk about stress reduction, stress management. We're going to explore what stress is, and we're going to look at some answers. So I have my cup of tea here already, and I'm sitting at my bay window. So why don't you go and get a cup of tea and let's have a lovely chat. I'm looking forward to it. Stress. Do you feel stress? Do you feel like sometimes life is just too much and you can feel your blood pressure rising, you can feel your heartbeat going, your muscles are tight? How does stress feel for you? I know when I feel stress and I feel that things are getting quite hard, my jaw tightens up and sometimes my brow might furrow, my hands, I might clench my hands, and I feel that my hips get quite tight as well. And my voice changes, so it gets quite staccato. I know I was trying to record a video yesterday and my daughter kept making noise, so I ended up calling out to the bathroom, please keep the noise down. I'm trying to do a video. Now I accidentally videoed it. So I watched the video and I thought, oh my goodness, I thought that I was communicating in a reasonable tone of voice and I thought that I was managing my communication. But when I looked at it, my voice seemed quite high-pitched and I seemed a lot more stressed than I thought I was. Is that the way it is for you? When you look back, do you think, gee whiz, was I really that stressed? And in the moment, you're just not aware? I had another moment several weeks ago or a couple of months ago now, when the boys did their first basketball tournament in the rep level, so it's a much higher level. I knew they were nervous. I knew they were worried about going in. I knew that one of my boys in particular was worried. So I carried that worry with me, and as I watched their game, my hands felt really tight. And because I hadn't slept, I got up early to get them ready for the tournament. So I hadn't slept a good sleep. I drank black coffee. So by the time I was watching them, my fears for them enjoying and finding the whole experience satisfying, the black coffee, the lack of sleep, the fact that there was quite a lot of preparation and it was a new experience for all of us. I didn't know the parents. I didn't know where I was going in the car. So I felt, and I remember the moment of feeling really stressed and thinking, now that's just too stressed. That's not good for you. So I looked down on the ingredients in that moment. Do you ever do that? Do you ever look down upon the moment as if you're watching a play or a movie and you freeze frame and you say, what is actually happening in that frame? Again, when I have videos, sometimes I'll freeze frame a part of a video and I look at it and think, wow, that's a funny picture, because I have wide open eyes or open mouth or hands gesticulating wildly. And there was a moment in time where that was real. There was a moment in time where I was wildly gesticulating with my eyes completely open, my mouth open. It's the same in life. We can go back and freeze frame an experience and say, how could we stop that happening? Now, I'm a great one for speaking about this because I really believe that I matured late in life. I'm an eldest child. Beautiful tea. I'm an eldest child and I had quite a sheltered upbringing, which was absolutely wonderful. And I'm very grateful to my parents for bringing me up in such a loving way. But when I went to uni, I was really shocked with the casual values. Beautiful people, but very different values from the way I was brought up. So it's only in the latter years, really in recent years, I'd say months, that I've really gained insight, and years since my marriage ending that I've really matured as a person. And part of that maturity has been my ability to look down upon my behaviour, my physical behaviour, my emotional behaviour, my mindful behaviour. I'm a big one for looking at physical behaviour because I think that our body speaks with us. Sometimes I might hang out with someone and I think, I really like this person and I'd like them to be my friend, but my body says no. My body holds stress or feels tight, and it's often because my body knows more than my ego. And my body says to me, is this person trustworthy? Listen to what they're saying. Look at the behaviour rather than your egoic feelings. And talking about stress, which is what we're talking about today. It's so often that our body is the messenger to us about stress. What is stress? Stress is the fight or flight syndrome, where our body produces hormones, adrenaline, in order to allow us to fight or flight. That is, address a situation or run away from a situation. So stress is there initially to help, instinctively to help us. But in reality, because our world, our Western world, has become so overrun with technology, with communication, as in when I say communication, technological communication, there's nothing wrong with intimacy, but technological communication, TVs, Blackberries, phones, computers, the internet, everything bypasses eye contact. So much bypasses eye contact. And there is a pressure to do everything more and more quickly. There are more and more TV shows and YouTube shows about how to do things quickly, whether it's change a car tire, put on your makeup, or whatever you do in your life. It's how to do it as quickly as possible. Is that really what it's about? Maybe we need to ask ourselves, why do we need to do things quickly? Now, we do need to do things quickly at times. I'm constantly saying this to the children. I say to them, get dressed quickly so you can go for a walk before you go to school or before we go out. So there's some things we need to do quickly, but not all things. I can't answer the question, what things in your life you need to do quickly and what things you need to do slowly. I can't answer that question, but you can. We talk a lot on this show about values, the importance of values. What are your values? When you know your values, you truly know your values, you'll know what needs to be done quickly and what needs to be done slowly. Dinners, that's a slow one. Looking into someone's eyes and listening to them about their day, that's a slow one. Throwing your clothes on so you can do a morning walk or run, that's a quickie. Getting the dishes done after dinner, that's a quickie. Tossing the salad with your daughter, that's a slowie. What are your slowies and what are your quickies? How do they support your values? Remember too, there's two types of stress. There's de-stress and eustress. Eustress, spelled EU, stress, is about stress that motivates us to get things done. It's no good if we just sit on the couch all day. So eustress can motivate us to go for a run, can motivate me to produce more videos, can motivate me to finish my book. What does eustress motivate you to do? And how does eustress benefit your life? Then there's distress. Distress is that stress that's just not necessary. Distress was the stress I felt when I watched the boys at the tournament. I should have told myself it would be okay. I should have been a little bit more relaxed about the day, but at the same time, I should also let go of that attachment of worrying about it because it was their first tournament, so it's only natural. But at the end of the day, we want to be well. We want to feel good. And stress, if it promotes or contributes to us feeling good now, bring it on. If it's distress, no. A lot of distress is not helpful. And we need to look at what it's about. A big issue here is ruminating or thinking. Ruminating is to imagine all your thoughts in a big melting pot. Ruminating is stirring that pot and stirring that pot. We love to think. Thinking is like a rock rolling down a hill. It gathers moss, or it can gather momentum. Ruminating does not bring happiness. Ruminating does not bring peace. A really big part of reducing stress, is slowing our minds down. Now that is almost comical coming from me. I think all the time. I love to think. I love to plan. I love to strategize. I love to dream. I love to think. But all the research shows, and I've talked about Killingsworth. Look up Killingsworth on YouTube. TED Talks. All the research shows that overthinking causes stress. Overthinking causes unhappiness. Slow your thinking down. Number one. Number two, look at where your mind points. It points at things. I'm always saying this to the boys. Whatever you think about, your mind's pointing at that. Where your mind points, your body follows. If you worry about your relationship breaking up, that's where your mind goes, that's where your relationship will go. Notice where your mind is pointing. Where does your mind point? What do you think about? A useful drill is to write down for 3 days what you're thinking about. So set an alarm and every hour write down what you are thinking about. Where is your mind pointing? Look at what you were thinking about. What triggered those thoughts? What do those thoughts have to bring to the world? I always say this to my daughter. How does that thought benefit the world? I say to my daughter, always, because she worries. How does that thought benefit the world? How does that thought benefit your family? How does that thought benefit your friends? How does that thought help you grow? Now, I know it's so easy for me to say this. I know. I struggle with it. I struggle with it a lot. I used to struggle with it a lot more. I'm a lot better now. I do look at where my thoughts are pointing. And there are times that you need to spend a bit of time fuming and jumping up and down. But notice the time and notice how long. Grieving. In grieving, we need to allow a time of sadness to move on. But notice how long and how much of your life you invest in negativity. I have some good news for you, my friend. You know that the book is coming out any time. My poor editor is not well at the moment, so I was supposed to get the final edit back on Friday, and it's a short process to upload it to Amazon, but I will be getting it back hopefully this week, so there is the delay, but it'll be out any time, and goodness gracious, my broccoli, I'll be telling you about it. So my happiness book will be out any time. I'll be letting you know. And I'm about to have a meeting with my editor to discuss the next book. And the next book is, drumroll, it's about reducing stress and managing stress. So that is my next book. So for today, I want you to consider what your body is doing when you feel stress. I want you to consider how your body is throughout the day, because that is an indicator of your patterns of stress. When is your brow your brow burrowed? When is your brow burrowed? When is your brow furrowed? When does your neck get tight? Are your shoulders hunched? Are your hips tight? I love doing hip opening yoga because my hips get so tight. But that's another conversation. So notice the patterns of your body, number 1. Number 2, notice your self-talk. What are you saying to yourself? Number 3, notice where your mind is pointing. Notice the triggers to your thoughts. Know your values and allow your behavior to support your values. Be in the moment. Be careful not to ruminate or overthink. Be in the moment. Remember, you can't change other people. So if you find yourself wanting, needing, or craving others to change, there is a recipe for stress. And I hear you, I'm there with you. I find myself wishing that. Oh, if only that person could change, we would have a wonderful relationship. Well, you know what? They're not going to change. So you know what? You're not going to have that wonderful relationship. So why waste 5 seconds of your life thinking about it? It's a beautiful day. Dear Ross is outside there doing his garden and painting his bricks. There was something incredibly satisfying, relaxing, speaking to Ross about his garden. I just love it. And this morning I repotted Jemima, who is my succulent. I must show you Jemima sometime. So the book on stress management is next. Do you feel stressed? Look at how your body is expressing stress. Look at what is contributing to the stress. Are you eating well? Are you walking? I find when I go to the gym, I just feel a little less stressed afterwards. I feel a greater sense of calm. A 5-minute walk can lift your mood. A 60-second meditation can lift your mood. It really comes down to a decision you make. Our patterns, even the negative ones, are patterns, routines, habits. We have to break them in order to change. And change is not easy. Change is not easy. So if you're in the... Listen to that beautiful bird. Oh, if you're in the pattern of being stressed, your body gets used to it. It feels comfortable with that pattern. So you're going to have to decide to break the pattern. And that means going out of your comfort zone. I hope you're keeping your journal. Have a look in your journal. What does that tell you about your patterns of stress? What does that tell you about your ability to change? Your journal tells you so much. There's so much in that journal. So let's explore our patterns of stress. Let's start to think about it, and over the next couple of weeks we'll explore stress in greater detail. Keep your journal. Start identifying your patterns which bring on stress. Don't blame others. You choose to spend your time with them. You can't blame them. They're not going to change. And I'm certainly not saying blame yourself. But we do need to take responsibility. And we do need to draw those lines in the sand. Where are our boundaries? Where are our boundaries? I hope you're walking, my friend. Ah, hear that? The boys are coming inside. Oh, they're calling me. Hear that? Oh, I have to stop the podcast in a minute. We'll speak soon. Hello.
We downloaded the game.
Did you?
Yeah, and we went on it. It said you have to